Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7. We're back with another sport mode time trial guide to try and help you get the 2 million credits that you get rewarded with a certain time on these events. So hopefully we've helped you out in the past with previous ones. Make sure you do hit that like button if this helps you out. Subscribe to the channel. I do these every single week. They are renewed. So if you're looking for tips with this 2 million credits to help you earn 2 million credits in this time trial, hopefully we can get you there as quick as possible. So this one is a little bit more difficult, I think, as a combination than we've had in the past. I think some of them have been a little bit easier in this. Some people will enjoy this. I think once you get used to how to drive this car, it does become more and more enjoyable. You have to be very, very smooth. And one thing I will point out with this car is very wide. You can see it on the replay. Very, very wide car, this. So you have to be very cautious in some of them corners because it's very easy to clip the grass, so remember that. Also, another point to remember is with the gearing. Now I'm going to show you that now as we start this track, guys. So watch what we do with the gearing as we come through here. We're going to go into 4th gear. Now we're going to miss out 5th gear. The reason for that is because each gear shift takes quite a long time to change in this car. So you're going to double shift it. Watch, lift off the throttle, double shift, and there you go, we're in 6th gear. Now you might need to practice that a few times. You have to give it a little lift off the throttle, but it will gain you time. Now we're going to go into turn 1 using the 50 board as a reference for our brake marker. That's where we're going to try and get on the brakes. You can see they're dead on the brakes, pretty much level with that 50 board. Now you want to get this car into this first apex, almost clipping it with your right hand tire. You see there, right hand tire basically on the curb on the right hand side, and stay on the brakes around 50%. You see around 50% there until we get to the edge of the track. Now do not run as wide as Jomas did there in P1. Try and get your car a little bit closer to the actual tarmac because it's very risky running that far wide. And we're going to stay in 4th gear. We're not going to go in any other gear. 4th gear is really nice in this car through this section. So again, as we come to this next left hand corner, we're not changing gear. We're going to put a little bit of braking input here. It's not going to be drastic. It's just tiny bits of braking input to help rotate the car through this section. Again, left hand tire on the curb. And now we're going to line it up for the next corner by putting a little bit of braking input again to get that rotation change and put the weight onto the front of the car. Right hand tire on the curb, staying in 4th gear as well. And again, same method all the way through this section. Again, tiny bit of braking input's going to go in just before this corner. You'll see it just there. Tiny bit of braking input again. And we're going to try and rotate the car into this next curb, keeping that left hand tire as close to the curb as possible, while staying in 4th gear. Now be smooth with your inputs in 4th gear. Don't be too aggressive because the car can still snap on you. And again, for this final right here, tiny bit of braking input again. Just rotates the car, keeps it nice and close to the curb. That is what you want to do, keeping it close to the curb. Now at this point, you want to get the car rotated. So you're going to get the car to the right hand side of the track and try and get it so you're carrying the speed through this next left-hand corner. You can see I'm a little bit cautious here. Could have been a little bit more aggressive, but you have to be careful because it's very easy to understeer off the edge of the track there. So just be cautious when you're putting the power down through that left-hand corner. Now we're going to the 2 right-hand corners. Now we're going to use that 50 board as a reference, but we're on the brake way before there. I use it as a guide to what I'm looking at, but we're braking very early with this car because of the speed you're carrying. Now on the entry into this first part, make sure your right hand tire just skims that curb on the right hand side. You do not want to be on the green part. It will unsettle your car massively. So just skim the car on the right hand side, left hand side with the curb. And then as soon as you got the car straightened up, you're almost on the brake straight away because you need to brake a little bit earlier than what you would with other cars with this thing. Now, into this next right-hand corner, you can use the curb on the right-hand side. You're going to see with the Ghost in front of us there, all tyres, on-site green bit of Astro. You can really attack this curb. You can do it in pretty much most cars. And then onto the throttle in 3rd gear and power your way out. Now, I was tempted to try 4th gear there, but I found 3rd gear had a bit more momentum out of it. So, yeah, it's up to you. You might want to try the 4th gear there. It's not a massive loss. You might actually gain if you get it right. Now, we're going to brake before this corner straightens up. You see, very early on the brakes into this corner. And now we're going to keep the car to the right-hand side and then square it off. We're not going to stay really close to the apex here. I actually found this seemed to give me a better time. Keeping a gap between the apex and just getting on the throttle a little bit earlier and just not putting too much steering input there seemed to gain us time overtaking it tight to the apex. So that is a line that you might want to give a try. Now we're going to double shift again into 6th gear, missing out 5th gear. Really helps you out there, that. And then into this next left-hand corner for spoon corner. We use the 50 board and that bit of tarmac as a reference again, but we're braking super early. Look, we're already on the brakes because this car carries so much speed into the corners. And again, staying in 4th gear. Now, we're going to stay in 4th gear on the entry. A little bit of braking input going in to keep us to left. Then we're going to get on the throttle. Now, we're going to go down to 3rd gear for a brief bit of rotation in a minute. So onto the brakes. and then you're going to see us go straight into third gear. Now, we're going to go back up to fourth gear, though, before we get on the power. That's because third gear was just used just to rotate the car a bit, and now we want fourth gear for that acceleration. And we're going to be cautious on that throttle, you see, 80%, 90%, then 100%, and then working our way on the straight. And again, you've guessed it, we're going to miss out fifth gear, straight up to sixth gear, and you actually get a big benefit of doing that on this straight. Now, this next left-hand corner, 130R, is completely flat. You do not need to lift, just take it nice and smooth, flat out through there. And now we're looking for the 150 board on our left-hand side. That's going to be your braking reference for the final chicane. Now, you have to do that 150 board, because if you try and brake too late, you're going to miss this final chicane because you're going over 200 miles per hour. It's incredibly fast, this car. So, braking and downshifting in a straight line. And then at this point, you want to start turning in and getting into that apex. You can see the apex up ahead. You're going to attack this curb. Now, I could have took a lot more than what I did off here. You can see P1 Jomas completely over that curb. I didn't do it as bad as that. I probably should have done to gain a bit more time, but I don't think it lost me too much because it did seem to unsettle his car a little bit. But then for this corner, again, you can take quite a bit off this corner. So I definitely had a little bit of room to play with on the entry into the chicane. You can get away with a lot more than what I expected looking at what Jomas did in front of us. So on the exit here, I early upshift to fourth gear just to be cautious that we don't understeer wide, and then over the line for a 41.745. Reasonably solid lap, pretty happy with that. And yeah, let's take a watch of that from the chase camera again. So watching it from the chase camera, you can really see how wide this car is. It actually is deceptive. You don't really think of it when you're on the view I use, but you might want to use a different view if it helps you out. But for me, I still prefer the view I use. But you can see them tyres onto the curb. This is what I'm saying. You've got to use the curbs. Just be as smooth as you can through this section. Don't be too aggressive on the curbs, but you do need to use them for the rotation. So into this right-hand corner, using that curb again, being patient on that throttle. You can see wasn't 100% throttle because we're just feathering it slightly. And again, into these two right-hand corners. You're going to see what I'm saying about this first part of this apex now. So watch the right-hand side. Just skims the curb there. That was pretty much spot on. Then this part, you can attack it a lot more. I could have took a bit more off there. You can see again, could have got that right-hand side onto the green Astro. So a little bit of time to gain there. Perhaps another 10th or so. And then this left-hand corner, you can see how we leave quite a big gap to the apex. But that enables me to get on the throttle really early and carry the speed on the exit. So maybe a bit of experimenting between taking a tight line and that. I think if you take too tight a line, though, you're going to have trouble getting on the throttle. So, yeah, I think possibly the better route for that corner is going on that wider angle. Again, through here, little third gear shift, back up to fourth gear before we get on the throttle. Then that double shift into sixth gear. It is a bit annoying that we have to do these double shifts. I think that PD need to get on top of it because, personally, I don't think that was a thing. As much as I've seen quite a lot of F1 in that generation. I don't remember them double shifting, but it seems like an issue with a lot of cars on this game. So into this next right-hand corner, again, onto the curb. You can see we did it quite nice, actually. We could have took a little bit more off on that first part, but overall quite smooth and over the line for a 1 minute 41.7. So happy with that lap. Can definitely improve it, but I'm probably not going to because I know this lap's easily good enough for a gold. My prediction for the gold time that you're going to need to get is at least a 43.5. It might creep a little bit faster than that. So I personally would be pushing for a 43.5 if you're looking to get the 2 million credits. Hopefully you'll get there. Hopefully this video will help you out. If it does, like I say, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and let me know in the comments if it's helped you out. I'll see you all again for more videos in the future. Bye, everyone.